Well, it's done it again. I'm gonna have to change this around again. Well, I goofed up again on my camera as I go live again. I'm trying to get the continuity camera working right, and it is not working right. So I'm here at the house and got a camera moving around and around. So hold on a second as I change. Let me see if I can change my camera here a second. I am going to have to. Hey, Jeff, bear with me a second, Jeff. I'm having to adjust my camera. There, I finally got it adjusted somewhat. Now I've got to get the. I'm trying. I'm trying to do it right here and trying to have a decent video. I'm trying to check it out here on my other end, and at the same time, my continuity has kind of screwed up the last couple of weekends on the continuity camera. So I have I'm not doing as good as I usually do on this. So I hope you'll understand what I'm doing. But I'm trying my best to get things going here today, and I am down here at the house today, as you might see. I'm down here at my house, not at the shop, and where I usually am. I'm usually at the shop, and I usually have what I call this camera on the widescreen and everything else. But for the past couple of weeks, this is the second week in a row that the camera orientation is this way now, as opposed to elongated or the widescreen, because I can't get the continuity camera working right. And the continuity camera it lets me use my iPhone as a uh, camera for my computer, and by not being able to do that, I don't get the best video because the webcam is not good on the computer itself, and I don't really like it. The quality is better on this as far as the camera goes, but the orientation I don't like because I'm having to use the orientation, straight up and like you're seeing right now. I've got the vertical instead of the horizontal, and I like more of a horizontal look than I do the other way. Hey, good morning, good time. How are you? Yeah, and I'm trying to get the. Let me see if I can get this mount. Let me see if I can get this mount off here and remount. Just bear with me a second. I'm wanting to remount the camera here. Second, there we go. I got that off. Now, see if I can get the mount on here and get it working better. And you had to see a little bit of shaking camera here a little bit until I get it back into the mount here. And I get it back into the mount. Now I've got it. Now I've got it a little bit better. Now hopefully you can you can see it, and it's not looking too awfully bad like that. So no, I'm not in the shop. I'm down here at my house today. It's a little bit chilly this morning, and the shop, being that we don't heat it on the weekend and everything, it gets a little bit chilly. So I decided to come or stay down here at the house, not come down here. My wife lets me stay down here anyway, don't you, honey?
Yeah, especially when it's 33 degrees.
Yeah, especially when it's 33 degrees. My lovely wife is off to the side over here. She's usually very quiet, and until I ask her a question, but she's over here to the left of me right now in the kitchen, and I'm trying to make do with this horizontal view of the camera as opposed to the normal way where I got a good wide screen and everything. So I hope everybody puts up with that and everything. It's cold in Connecticut. Oh, okay. Hey, Jamie. Glad to see Jamie jump in there. Yeah, I'm trying to make the best of this and everything, and I've got my computer here in front of me so I can see everybody too, and plus I've got it on the screen. But I'm having to go. I'm having to go down here to my computer because the screen on my iPhone it's small. And you have to kind of let it scroll up and everything else. It's a little bit different, and it's a little bit different setup. But until I can figure out this continuity camera on the computer, I'm gonna be kind of stuck with this. Well, hey, Outcast. I hope it's not too awful cold out there, is it, Chris? Chris is uh, not Nebraska. What I'm about to forget. You're out in not Oklahoma either. Where you're in Missouri. Is that where you're at, Chris? I can't remember. Is it Missouri or Oklahoma? But
Is the guy from Jonas Ridge on there this morning?
no, I haven't seen him on here. I used to. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Yeah, but we went through Jonas Ridge. Yeah, uh, I have one of the viewers that lives up at Jonas Ridge, North Carolina, and Barbara and I were through Jonas Ridge earlier this week when we went up to Minneapolis, North Carolina. There's actually a Minneapolis, North Carolina, just like the other Minneapolis, but it's up there above Newland. And Barbara and I went up there to retrieve or buy a trailer from my brother-in-law. So I went up there and bought a gooseneck trailer from him. Kansas City. Okay, Kansas is where. Okay, Chris is from Kansas. I knew it was Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, somewhere in that area. I couldn't, but you're not too far from Oklahoma either, are you? Aren't you just right above Oklahoma, where you live? And because you're down there where it's windy all the time, I know that. That is a windy area of the United States. Because I remember being out there years ago, like I said, and this as windy as it could be. Those are the wet states, okay. Also, Kansas is not wet. Or, or now I'm speaking wet with like in alcohol beverages. Okay, Oklahoma is 50 miles south. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking you're right, not too far from the Oklahoma border. That's like me. I'm not too far from the South Carolina border. When people talk about me, I live in North Carolina, but South Carolina is just 15 miles south of here. So I'm real close to the South Carolina border. Oh, you got liquor, just no rain. Yeah, yeah, I understand that. Well, we have had plenty of rain here. And speaking of that, I'm thirsty, so I'm gonna take a drink. Need to clear my voice anyway. Well, how has the car selling or smashing deal been doing? The scrap metal and everything, is that still going pretty good, Chris? Yeah, I wish I could, because boy, my pond is, I'm out here looking at the pond right now. It is completely full. It's up to the brim, and I've got to get in there and do some work around my pond and a few things when the weather breaks. Jim and I have been working on the larger equipment and everything, trying to get my track hoe, big track hoe going good. So that's what we've been doing. Gosh, I look heavy in this thing. I got it. Oh man, I look like I weigh 300 pounds sitting in this recliner here. I'm gonna have to get a different profile here so I don't look so big. When I was sitting back there, I looked like I weighed 300 pounds, and I'm really not that big. Not that big, guys. I weigh about 210, so I'm not a 300 pounder and everything. But the way I was sitting right there, I look, to me myself, looking out on the picture that I'm seeing on my computer, I go, gosh, I look like a 300 pounder sitting there. But it was just the way it was projecting. Hey, Walter, the price of the catalytic converters went down. I don't know. I hadn't kept up with that. Okay, all the scrap metal prices are crashing again, huh? Yeah. Well, that happens occasionally. All depends on what China's doing, I guess. And uh, those commodities like that, and scrap metal, it's a crazy thing. There's a new scrap metal place I noticed that's opening up down close to Grover, right here, as I was talking about, right at the South Carolina border. They got the railroad down there that they can load up into rail cars real easy, and they're opening up one right beside the major rail line. So I imagine that's a big plus for them, so they can load the rail cars, and then get everything doing good there. But that's the way it is. Economics are crazy right now. I mean, you look at what's going on in the economy. Period. I was talking to some of my FedEx friends just the other day, and FedEx freight is off. And when I hear that, I know the economy is not doing as good as they project, as they say that it's doing. Because if the freight business is off, then that's an indicator to me that the economy is going south a little bit. I mean, I'm not talking the stock market. All these people keep saying, oh, the economy's great. No, the stock market's doing good, but the economy as a whole is not doing good. The consumer part is not doing good right now. And that's what we got to look at. I mean, our gas prices, I've noticed, are going back up a little bit. Like I said, the scrap metal's going down, and that's when you're seeing indicators like that, when scrap metal prices are going down, gas prices are going up, your groceries and everything else are still up. That's a sign to me that inflation has kicked in and it's staying in. That's the bad part about it. I mean, that's you know when we start seeing this inflation, it never goes down. That's the problem of all that. It never goes down. And so, we've got to, look at it and it's Bidenomics, right? It's what we're living under right now. I mean, Joe has made this bed, and we're having to live with it right now. And maybe things can turn around. I don't know. They keep saying, it's a crazy world we got out there when we've got people trying to put people in prison just because mainly that they're running for the opposing person, and that's what we've got. We've got what they call a banana republic right now, and I don't like it one bit. And I think a lot of people are like that. We just don't like it. You can say what you want to say. But I like to look at the normal economics, like Chris was talking about with the metal, and look at those indicators. Look at what grain prices are going for, what hog prices are going for, beef prices. Check out what the real person that's out here in the real world, what he's having to put up with. How much is diesel fuel costing you? How much are you getting per mile when you're doing freight? These are the indicators that are more important to me than some of these huge indicators that Wall Street tries to project. I mean, they want to project, oh yeah, the S&P's doing this and that, and so on and so on. Yeah, I mean that's an indicator you always have to look at, but the underlying products, the underlying part is what I like to look at to make sure that that the average person is not getting hit. Hey, Renegade, how are you? Glad to see you jumping here. I was on Renegade's page. Renegade changed his up a little bit. He's on Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock now, on 7 in the afternoon. So he's changed his up a little bit. But yeah, I like to look at the economics like that. I mean, and we all have to worry about. I mean, in my opinion, we need to worry what the average man's doing. Like I said, I don't worry about what the rich man's doing. I mean, not everybody's got a 401k that's stacked full of money. There's a lot of people out there that don't even have 401ks, and you got to think about that person. So when you're looking at the broad picture of economics, you've got to look at the consumer electronics and the consumer food and everything like that. You've got to see what people are buying on a normal basis. I mean, go down to your local Sam's or your Lowe's or your Home Depot and see what prices are doing. See what the price of lumber is at. See what the price, compare what we were doing 2 or 3 years ago to what we're having to pay right now. That's where the real inflation shows. That's where the real indicators are. I mean, this other crap. I mean, and I call it crap because you're taking the elite. If you're just going to measure the elite companies, then you're not going to get a true. You're not getting the true dynamics of what's going on in the nation. And I worry about what's going on in the nation. And like I said, and the one big indicator that I always used to look at was freight. Because if the freight is not moving at the same pace that it was in previous years and everything, then that to me is the huge indicator of what's going on in the world. Because yeah, 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 I'm not going to listen to CNN, that's for sure. CNN and MSNBC and ABC. And I mean, when you've got places like that won't even say illegal immigrants, they want to call them, they'll name them freedom, no, what was it? Asylum seekers. I mean, say it what it is. I mean, if they're seeking asylum, they've gone through the right process. They've gone to the border, they've gone and they're signed in and they're registered and we know who they are and where they're going. But if you're just breaking across the border, you're an illegal. You're an illegal. And this crap that we're seeing right now is just plain illegal immigrants. And, you call it, call a spade a spade. That's the way I look at it. And that's what the current administration is afraid to do. Everything has to be coded for them. Everything has to be glossed over so it's not what it really is. But we'll see. We shall see. I mean, I hope things will get back to more normal before long. Oh, I know. Yeah, Walter's talking about auto parts. Well, yeah, yeah, and I'm trying, and that's what I'm doing a lot of right now. I'm trying to rebuild some old stuff, and it's hard. It's expensive. It's expensive to go out and buy brake shoes and wheel bearings and everything that we used to get way cheaper, and we can't now. I mean, the price of those products have gone up dramatically, and it's just passed on. I mean, I know that firsthand by owning, being a former Napa Auto Parts dealer. I mean, I can't go now. I mean, we go out and look. I buy a lot of batteries, and Jim and I were buying some the other day, and the price of batteries have gone up a lot. I guess it's because, like everything else, everything that goes in it has gone up. So, the cost of a battery is not the same as it was, you know, a couple of years ago when I was at a Napa dealer. I mean, I don't. They probably can't even buy them for what I was selling them for back then. I mean, it's gotten so ridiculous now. I mean, the price increases on all of this is terrible. But we we just have to gear it up, and I mean that's when I look back at the price of vehicles, and I like looking at prices and stuff like that. I saw an ad the other day, and it was showing a 1955 Chevrolet. It's when it was new, and it was showing it in the showroom. It said we have so many in stock or whatever, and the price on that 1955 Chevrolet, fully loaded, it said Bel Air, and it was like 1895, $1,800, $1,800, $1,895 for a full functioning brand new Chevrolet. Now that's what it was in 1955. Now fast forward now to 2024, and that same vehicle would be $75,000 or $65,000, or something. A new F-150 pickup. Well, I mean, take for instance a pickup truck especially, and it was an F-100 back in the like 55. You'd have an F-100, which is equivalent to what an F-150 is now, but it was a basic truck, a basic F-150, sold back then for anywhere from 1,400 to, I mean, you could get a brand new one for $1,400, $1,400 to $1,800, and now an F-150 basic, this F-150 is going to run you $45,000 to $50,000. If you get one like you want, you're going to have $75,000 to $90,000 in an F-150 if you get one with a decent package. Now, granted, they're a lot nicer than the F-150 that we bought back in the 50s and the 60s. I mean, they're plain Jane back then. They didn't have all the soundproofing and didn't ride like a car and all that. They were basic suspension and, I mean, heavy duty and everything as we could get them. But still, can you fathom the inflation? I mean, a house in the 50s, the average price house in the 50s was probably in the neighborhood of about ten to $12,000 a house. The average price of a house now is 200,000, and you know it just it's mind-boggling that it's more than tenfold, more than 10 times more money. I mean, shoot, if it was 10 times for a vehicle, that would only be what, 18,000. It's it's 30 times. I have to get a calculator out. I mean, if you had, gosh, I need to get a. I can't even think those numbers that quick. But it's about 45 times. Say an average price. I just hit the calculator. The average price anywhere from 40 to 45 times more expensive now for a vehicle. And just in the past few years, here's what I mean. The real tragic thing about it is, I mean, I bought a loaded F-150 diesel XLT with everything, leather seats, you know, the works, a nice one that I drove up to New York State up to see Joey and Mike up there. And I I paid, I think I want to say the sticker on that was like 46,000. The same thing today is doubled almost. I mean, it is almost doubled. It's probably 80 something. But my sticker, I think my sticker price on that one in 2018 was in the 40s, like 46, 48. And gosh, I mean, an F-150 is just, it's not even, you can't hardly even, well, glad to see you, Warden and Kim. Yeah, glad to see you in here again. But like I said, it's hard to fathom. It's hard to fathom that all these inflationary things have gotten that high and everything in that short a period of time. And we've got to have a cooling off period. I mean, you understand why the stock market prices are up because they're inflated too. I mean, once you inflate everything, you have to inflate the stock market too. I mean, if it's just like everything else, if this particular part or whatever selling at this price, and then you inflate it, and it almost doubles, the stock associated with that's going to have to go up exponentially too. And that's what's happened. And that's why we got a runaway inflation even within the stock market. It looks good, but the value of these products has not changed. I mean, as far as the value dollar wise is terrible, but I mean the value of the product has not changed. Actually, it's gone down probably because now you're getting less for your money. I mean, even the president was complaining about that you don't get as much ice cream or whatever for your money's worth, or you don't get cookies is not a same amount of cookies. And what my wife and I, we always laugh about it. You can always tell inflation by Girl Scout cookies because the Girl Scout cookie box keeps getting smaller, and that seems to be a good indicator. I'll try to send some that way. Clorox, okay. I don't know who Clorox is, but hello. Yeah, I'll try to send some your way, Joey. I hadn't really. I mean, we got the sunshine down here. It's actually a real sunny day today, as you might can see behind me here. It's a sunny day, but we don't have we don't have the warmth. I think the temperature, I can holler at Google right now and find out the temperature. I got the Google speaker up here. Okay, Google, temperature, and it'll tell me.
In Cherryville, it's currently 40 degrees.
40?
Due to current wind conditions, it feels like it's 33.
Okay, it's 40, but it feels like it's 33. So it's blustery outside. All right, David, where are you at if it's dark? Are you in California, or are you overseas? Are you in, I've got some Australia people to sign in. It's 26 there, is it, Joey? Sure, ask a question, Toon. You can ask anything you want. Within moderation, I mean, we try to keep everything clean. But yeah, just ask anything you want. It's 59. Now Renegade's in Florida. Now which part where you around? Are you around Jacksonville? Is that where you're at, Renegade? I keep forgetting which part of Florida you're from. You want to hear a joke? Well, if I could give advice to your 20-year-old self, what that would look like, what would you tell him? Well, if I could roll back the clock to 1971, and that's when I was 20. If I could roll back the clock to 1971 and give myself advice, my advice would be, as soon as Apple and Microsoft come on the stock market, buy some Apple and Microsoft stock. Actually, more Apple than Microsoft. Microsoft has done so, but I would definitely buy as much Apple stock as I could get and hold on to it for 50 years, and I'd be a gazillionaire. And if I'd give myself some advice back then too, I would have bought more real estate. I would have held on to all my old cars that I had. I tell you that too. I had some nice cars. I had a 1957 Chevy. I had a 55 Chevy at one time. I had a 57 Chevrolet pickup at one time. I had a 74 Nova Super Sport at one time. And all those, and a Le Mans. I had a 66 Le Mans. If I had just those cars and still had them in the condition they were in 1971, I'd be rich right now just off cars, because just those cars would be well worth $300,000 probably. And those, if I'd had them in good pristine mint condition and just kept them, I wouldn't have had done much with them. Just kind of kept them washed off and clean, and that I would have had a lot of money and just cars, hanging on to that as antiques. But you don't do those things. You use them, abuse them, get rid of them, and you don't you go with the flow. I mean, I bought my 57 Chevy for $150, and I sold it for $300, doubled my money. But then the guy that took it and fixed it up and everything, then he sold it for $1,800. Today, that car, if it was on the open market, would probably be worth $75,000. So I mean, that car is that shows you an example of some of these things. You don't realize that whatever you've got now is going to be worth something way more in the future. Not everything. It's not going to do it overnight. It's not going to do it overnight. It's going to take time. I mean, like I said, even that 57 Chevy, when I sold it for $300, the guy took it, cleaned it off, cleaned the body, painted it, put a 327 and a 4-speed in it, made it look really nice. He made it into a nice car, a nice looking 57. And what he added to it was well worth the extra money. I mean, it was well worth 1,800. But in 1970, well, this was probably when he fixed it up and finished it and everything, probably 75 then. But in 1975, I didn't have the money. I didn't have $1,800 to spare. But had I known what I know now, I definitely would have saved my money, invested it more wisely into real estate. I am glad that I built a house and back in 76. So, I mean, this house that we're in right now, I built this house in 1976. I've remodeled it and everything, but I've added on to it and remodeled and done a few things. But that was a great investment. I mean, yeah, yeah, I need a time machine, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah, I need a time machine, and that's you're a millionaire, Jason. Well, I'm glad to know that. I mean, you all have to. Everybody has to look at their value, what they have, and everything. And I've got substantial things here. I mean, I know I wish I had a time machine like what we're talking about, and I could go back in time and change some things. I wish I could take the technology and everything that I've got now and project it back into the past. I would love to have this technology in 1971 and be able to use it like I'm using it today. Of course, all these things like Google and the internet and everything else was non existent in 1971. I mean, the internet uh, didn't come about good until the late 80s, early 90s. Fortunately, now I did get involved with that. And I made money on that when I started an ISP back in the early 90s, and I sold it in the later 90s, and I made good money off of it. And that was a darn good investment. That was probably one of the better investments that I've ever made in my life, along with my trucking business. So, those are the things you have to do. You'd go forward to 2038. Well, I I wouldn't need to go forward to 2038 because I probably won't be around in 2038. Because in 2038, that's another. I'll be in my late 80s in the 2038. Let's see, yeah, yeah, because I'll be if 2041, I'll be if it's 2041, I'll be 90. So yeah, that's projecting it pretty far for me. Probably past my limit and everything. So I hi there. Is that ice? I don't know what Iceon VR, virtual reality. I guess is that what that stands for? Yeah, and that's like what you said. Good time there. When I was young, I was just trying to survive, and that's what everybody tries to do, I guess, when they're young, just getting started. You're just trying to survive, and it's hard to tell people and project to people and influence people on what you should do. Now, I took some advice from some older adults, and my father-in-law and my dad and everybody, and I listened to a certain extent of what they said was right and wrong, and they were right more often than wrong. I can tell you that because they had lived it. They had lived through harder times and everything. Now, you got to be futuristic in all your endeavors endeavors a little bit. And thank goodness I had one grandfather that kind of influenced me to kind of look into the future and to project what my ideas into the future. And so I did take some advice from my mother's dad. I mean, he was a pretty smart man. He was not educated real well. He had very little formal education. I mean, he actually just went probably to the third or fourth grade. He went long enough to read and write, and that's about all they needed in eastern Tennessee at that time. And then, you know, get you ready to go work in a cotton mill or whatever. And well, there wasn't even cotton mills up in Tennessee as good, but and you know those sort of things. So uh, you can get some good advice from some people like that sometimes. Yeah, yeah, that projecting that far out is probably beyond my expiration date. I hope not, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's for sure. Gamer Battles 1427. Hi. Or is it Gamer? Yeah, Gamer. I had to look at I had to recognize all the different ones that have jumped in here. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of new people that are jumping in the last few weeks. But you know, I'm always game to talk to new people and see what's going on. I like new ideas, and the more the merrier. Long as everybody, you know, does right, and that I don't get any crazies in here. I mean, every once in a while, that's why we got so many moderators and everything. If we get somebody asking vulgar things or crazy things or acting stupid, then we can always knock them out. One of the moderators can delete that person or whatever. But I like seeing a lot of new people. And a lot of times, you know, if they get to be a regular person that jumps in here every week, then, you know, they'll end up being a moderator too, probably. I mean, we have a lot on this channel. I have a lot of moderators, and I'm glad that we do. I'm glad that we do, and of course, I'm glad, like I said, we get the new people too. Last week sort of blew up in my face real quick. We had ended up having over 1,100 people that went on the show last week. I mean, y'all can go back and look at that. It was sort of crazy that we had so many at one time, and so many was streaming in and out and everything. But I'm glad of it. I'm glad that, like I said, the more people that we can get out there and chat with, the more that see the commonality of our collective ideas that we have and everything. That's about what I'm looking at, because we have a lot of people that have a lot of good ideas, and we have a lot of good common folk that tune into the channel and want to talk of ideas. That's what's going on in the world, the nation, and everything else like that. And I enjoy that. I like being a sounding board. Now, everybody can hear my clock out here. That's my clock. That's my 20-year clock there sounding off. I got a real nice clock from FedEx. Well, thank you, Priscilla Juarez. I appreciate that. I don't expect that, but I appreciate that. Now, where are you from, Priscilla? And I like to see people like that, and I was not expecting a super chat. That's for sure. I don't promote those, but I'm very appreciative of that. That's for sure. Very appreciative, and you know, but I try to encourage people not to do that too much, because I don't want to see them, because of the inflationary ways of everything, to send money out and everything. but I'm not a poor person, so I don't need super chats. And I know people may say that's crazy. Take what you can get, and I'm very appreciative of it. But I'll pass that on. I'll be able to contribute that to some charitable situations. I like to give to my church pretty good, so we'll pass that on to my local church and everything else. So we'll, anytime I get something like that, I do appreciate it and that sort of stuff. Now, where are you from, Priscilla? Since it's Priscilla Juarez, I like to find out. I mean, I know like in here, I got Jamie's from Massachusetts, Renegades from Florida, Chris is from Kansas, and Joey's from New York. And then I have a couple from Australia and a couple from Canada that always jump in and out. So, yeah, let us know where you're from, and I appreciate it. And I'll try to keep that in my mind where you're from too, the next time you're in here. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that, and I enjoy being able to have these regular moderators that I know who they are, where they're from, and kind of their attitudes about situations. Because all of us have a little bit different play on things, and I like to kind of melt that together when I'm out here in the talk and everything. So, if you'd like to tell us where you're from, yeah, yeah, just tell us where you're from, and if you don't, that's fine too. Not everybody wants to be notified where they're from, so I mean that's a personal preference and everything. But I do appreciate you jumping in here, and I hope you're liking what you're hearing and everything because, like I said, we're just a lot of common folk in here chatting on a Sunday morning. Not every time does it have a theme. Sometimes I've gotten on here and talked about FedEx a lot, and you'll see some programming that I've done about FedEx because I was a FedEx contractor for 34 years, and I do know a lot about FedEx Freight and FedEx. Well, it was FedEx Ground is where I was a contractor, but I mean, as far as the freight business, I do know a lot about that. And prior to that, I'd worked 10 years at Carolina Freight, that's right here in my hometown. So I know a lot about the freight business and everything. So those sort of things are some of the things that I'm on topic with. And a lot of times you'll catch me out here and I still have, I'm retired, but I still own two shops. Well, actually I own several buildings. I still own my old Napa. I sold my Napa franchise about 2.5, 3 years ago. But I still own the buildings out there. have two buildings out on that property. And I have a Napa store out, there's a Napa store out there, and there's a plumbing supply and the other building that I have. So I have some property there, and then I also have a couple of garages up here close to where I live, and we actually work out of one of those. We do restoration on old cars, and that's when I was talking earlier about cars and everything. I love. I wish I could have held on to the cars that I used to own because I had some pretty nice ones, and they would be valuable right now. But it is what it is. Oh, does he? Well, that's good to know. Yeah, yeah. The trucking business, is a tough business to be in. Fortunately, I was under the umbrella of being a FedEx ground contractor, and they helped make it somewhat easier. I mean, it was still a tough job. It's not easy being a FedEx ground contractor with all the regulations and all the stipulations that they mandate to be a contractor. And some of them, people, if they're independent, would not like some of the things that uh, FedEx mandates. But when you look at the picture as a whole, you have to say, well, what the other things that they bring to the table outweigh the inconvenience of myself having to do this or that. So that's what you get into uh, with that kind of contract. But if your brother is in a flatbed business, that's a tough business. That's a tough business. My older brother, Don, was in the flatbed business at one time. He had about, I think he had 3 flatbeds, tractor trailers, and he was hauling steel primarily. He'd got tied in with one of the steel mills out of Charleston, and he was hauling steel up and down the East Coast, and they were doing that. Him and actually a boy I went to school with, both of them were doing that. And it can be good money, but the biggest problem with being an independent, no, I don't play any games. I'm not a gamer. So you won't catch me playing any games other than solitaire. I play solitaire on my computer, and that's about it. That's the extent of my gaming. I'm not a gamer. Now my grandson, now he's a big time gamer. He plays all kind of things on his. Plays it on his Xbox and I would imagine it's primarily Xbox. That's what he uses and that kind of stuff. And he's a big time gamer. But no, I have never been into gaming. I did like some of the NASCAR games, but I'm really not even into that. Uh, so it is what it is. Having to clear out my throat a little bit. My old throat gets crusty and tough to talk sometimes. But I'm very appreciative of all the new people coming in. I hope you want to subscribe to my channel and check me out each Sunday morning. And like I said, on other days, I'll put videos up of what my wife and I, or me and Jim at the shop, or just around the farm here. I've got about a 75-acre farm that we have and we maintain. Now I don't have any animals. I'm not a farmer that has animals. We mainly we take care of the trees and the grass and the hay and stuff like that. Very light farming. But that being said, I still like having a farm and just keeping it clean and pristine in a couple of places. My wife is a big gardener. She loves to flower garden and that sort of stuff. But as far as the farm itself, uh, we just like owning the farm and light maintenance. I mean, like I said, we've got about probably 30 acres of pasture that we get the hay off of. Well, hi to you, Wonny Pie. Uh, Glad to see some other new people in here, but that's more or less what how things are going with me, and uh, pretty lightweight. I'm not I'm not a heavy hitter on anything. Like I said, I'm retired from the trucking industry, so like I said, you'll get a lot of um, that from me and everything. Now I got my buddy Renegade in here. He'll say hi to everybody. Renegade has a good channel too. He does live streams on Tuesdays. I was supposed to say Thursdays, Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock at night. He used to do it earlier in the day, but he found out that the old doing it about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, too many people were at work and everything. Of course, that's why I like doing it Sunday morning because not I figure a lot of people off, maybe people drinking coffee and eating breakfast and want to flip open the computer and see what's going on, and I'm some of what's going on, I guess, and just out here chatting away. But if anybody wants to check out Renegade, a couple of the guys out here, Chris, I don't know if Chris is still in here or not, but he's Outcast Projects, and Chris is a good guy. He does a lot of things with old cars and old equipment. He's got a farm out, and he's a farmer too, and he's got a farm out in Kansas. And if you want to see the Dust Bowl and everything, he he'll do that. And then we have a lot of other guys out here that just great guys to chat with and everything. That so it is what it is. So for all the newcomers that have come to my channel, I do appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. I don't have many thumbs up today, so everybody give me a thumbs up if you can, and that'll help that helps the dynamics or the algorithm. That helps the algorithm on the channel. That helps get me more viewers and everything, because that's what helps feed the program and everything. So that'll work out good. So I do appreciate everybody that has jumped in here, and I appreciate whatever we get done on this program. If it's changing your mind or not changing your mind, giving you a different viewpoint, that's what we're doing. That's why we just chat. We just chat and we. Hey Ralph, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while, but we just get out here and enjoy ourselves and try our best to bring something to the table that somebody wants to hear. Now I don't do that every time. Sometimes maybe I'm more controversial than I should be. I don't know, but I'd like to talk about the economy. I like to talk about what's going on in the world. As far as you see all this crazy stuff that's going on in Russia right now. They have had ISIS to come in, and I was listening to it, and from the reports I'm getting, that the U.S. intelligence tried to pre-warn Russia that they could get attacked by ISIS, and then they got a huge ISIS attack, and I think about 150 people were killed at this concert. So a tragic situation when you got terrorists and people like that coming across and everything, and that's one of the things that scare me. Yeah, well, it scares me that our open borders, that we're not controlling or at least identifying who's coming into the United States right now, and that's a terrible situation. And I'm seeing some things that are manipulating the economy in the wrong way too. That some major corporations, like Tyson Foods, I saw that they closed down and laid off American workers in certain areas, and then they're opening up some plants and they're giving top priority to migrants. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that and investigate that and go, Well, you're taking a U.S. citizen and making him unemployed, and then you're turning around and taking an immigrant, which you feel like you can take advantage of, and putting them to work. That's not a good omen right there. That's not a good way of doing business. And I don't think that we need any kind of catalyst that would bring in illegals or immigrants or whatever you want to call the situation now. We don't need any kind of catalyst that would say, here, come here, here are the jobs, and let that be taken over by one part of society. I mean, if the flow of people come in and the way that immigrants should be, it should be a diverse group of people, not one concentrated kind of person. But we need to know the backgrounds. And the biggest problem that I think so many people are scared of right now is the fact that we have no idea of the criminal status of anybody coming across the border. We don't know if they were a rapist. We don't know if they were a murderer. We don't know. I mean, and I've been told that some of these places are letting people out of jail and letting them migrate up. They want them out of their jails so they don't support them in anymore, and let them migrate and go back and let's say, hey, here, you go to the United States and you're fine. And that's not the way that we want our country to do. We don't want every immigrant of every step of life coming through and not having a tally of, what kind of person this is. I mean, if you want to know who they are, where they're going, what their intentions are, then we're in better shape. But as we've got it right now, we have no idea who they are. We have no idea of their background, and we have no idea if they'll ever come back to try to be a legal citizen. Right now, we've got them flowing into the United States by the millions, and we don't know where they're going to be. We don't know where they're going to end up, and we have no way of keeping up with them. And that's the scary thing about it. I mean, you have people that are going to be driving on our highways that are illegally driving, that are uninsured, and so when you go to buy your insurance for your car, you definitely want to have the uninsured portion checked, because if you don't on that, you're foolish, because we have more and more, and we even have more and more people that can't afford insurance that are driving cars out here that are untagged, unlicensed, and uninsured. I'm talking about legitimate people that have just fallen on hard times that won't go out there and insure their cars. So that's some of the situations that we've got right now. Well, I tell you, I've enjoyed having a good conversation with everybody. But as you might can tell, my voice is getting a little raspy. And that's because I've been on here over an hour. And that's about all my little voice will take. So I'm going to sign off here in just a second or two. I've enjoyed having everybody that's in here and that has jumped in here this morning. And I appreciate it. And I will check y'all out later. So y'all take care. And I'll see you next Sunday if I don't get in here before then. So take care.